The derby turns 10 years old and returns to Allianz after 1,721 days. But it doesn't really need that narrative tonight. The presence of Miloš Ninković in red and black is the storyline that has poured petrol on this rivalry, which of course ignited spectacularly in the early years, but has somewhat fizzled to a slower burn in recent times. Let's remind you of the team news. A couple of changes for Sydney FC. James Donachie is ready to resume in defence after injury, so Adrian Vlastelica drops down to the bench. And Joe Lolly has recovered from a bout of gastro, and so he replaces Adrian Segacic on the wing. Adam Lafondra had a late fitness test but hasn't made it. Paolo Retre, of course, is suspended. Still no Alex Wilkinson or Jack Rodwell. Sydney have 4 academy graduates on the bench, and Anthony Caceres plays his 100th game for the Sky Blues. Just one change for the Wanderers. Kusini Yengi is fit again after missing last week and replaces Rami Nazarene in the starting 11. Oli Bozanic is still unavailable, but Yeni Mbakoto is standing by for his debut on the bench. But it's the Wanderers number 10, of course, who's going to be the centre of all the attention. Miloš Ninković, who played 20 derbies in Sky Blue, his first in red and black tonight. And he says if he scores, he will celebrate. Boos ring out from the Sydney fans as we prepare for kick-off. Miloš Ninković, maybe with the first touch of the derby, if not the first, then certainly the second. What a night this could be. In terms of the media attention, and the fans have responded. They're expecting a crowd of around 35,000 to be confirmed later on this evening. Conditions perfect, a mild night in Sydney. Pitch looks good. 2 teams who need a win, and it's Western Sydney Wanderers who get the ball rolling, the most eagerly anticipated derby in years. It could be combustible, it could be crazy. It certainly won't be dull, you'd think, Daniel McBride.
No, I wouldn't think so, Simon. And as you say, the anticipation all week for this as we hear the crowd when Ninković gets on the ball.
Cheers for the challenge on Ninković. There's going to be a few of those. As the Wanderers launch the ball forward towards Kusini Yengi. Hooked away by Donachie, back in by Nieuwenhof, who of course is playing against his former employers as well. And Sydney scrambling clear, adrenaline flowing fast through the veins of the 2 players.
Well, both teams had a wake-up call last week, didn't they? Both off the back of bad results, coming into a derby where, as we said, so much anticipation around it. Hype. It'll be a case of which team can take control and settle in quickest.
Here's Borrello for the Wanderers. It's Brandon Borrello, and Redmayne needed perhaps to get that touch just to make sure.
Again, it was great pressing from Western Sydney to win the ball in the first instance. And as it came to Borrello, you know, there's only one thing on his mind there, was to try and get it on his right foot. Doesn't really collect it, and was probably going wide, but Andrew Redmayne didn't want to take any chances.
Opposite side, Borrello with the answer and get Kripic got on the end of it. Marcelo nods it back in and then over the top by Tomislav Merchela. And Western Sydney continue to make most of the running. Midfield partner Callum Nieuwenhof, who again have worked really well in tandem, really hard as well.
Yeah, they've both been quality.
Here's a chance for Anthony Caceres, and it's pushed clear by Thomas, still alive though for Woods. Rare side goal for Sydney. And Gabriel Clerc takes no chances. Corner ball.
We were just talking about the midfield of Western Sydney, and for me, they've dominated the game in that area. On this occasion, Anthony Caceres found himself in plenty of space to drive at the edge of the box. Wasn't a bad strike as well.
Traore to deal with. Off the Ninkovic, now Yengi. Given a couple, really, by Ryan Grant. Who's saying, well, he was holding on to me.
Ryan Grant basically jumped on his back and went for a ride, didn't he? It was the strength of Yengi. If it was another player, Yengi may have gone down, but look at the strength of the big man. The book on that one.
I have to say, I thought before that, Alex Kinga's motioning to get his hand to the back pocket to show the yellow, but he's not done so. The Wanderers free kick. He's brought back for a foul on Bratton. How do you sum up this first half, Macca? A bit stodgy from Sydney, a bit better from the Wanderers.
Yeah,
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Opening 15 minutes, very frenetic from both teams, but I think Western Sydney settled into the game a little better, started to find their rhythm, created some better opportunities to get forward without really any end product.
Well, the Wanderers have had the better of it. Miloš Ninkovic has been busy without really creating any clear-cut opportunities. The Wanderers still to concede a first-half goal. So far this season, Sydney's attacks have been sporadic. Anthony Caceres probably with the best of their opportunities, forcing a save out of Lawrence Thomas. At the other end, a few half chances for the Wanderers, who've had the better of the play generally, but at the interval and Allianz Stadium, no goals. Sydney FC 0, Western Sydney Wanderers 0. What a wonderful setting this newly rebuilt Allianz Stadium is, particularly on a night like tonight. Mild in terms of weather, two sets of fans, loud and passionate. No goals on the scoreboard and all to play for in the second half. No changes made by either coach, but they will come as Kripic flicks on the throw, but Sydney come away with the ball. And it's Joe Lolly on the right. 1-2 with Caceres, attacking the cove end of the ground now, of course, Sydney. Robert Mack trying to get around Gabriel Clerc, which he did in the end, but he was off balance with his shot. But already, signs of something better for Sydney FC. Yeah.
Well, Anthony Caceres likes to get into those pockets and then move in behind as well, combining well on that occasion. As that ball came across to Robert Mack. He's had a good battle tonight, hasn't he, with Gabriel Clerc. He looked to have got the better of him for a second. A little tussle there.
Switch by Donachie again for Caballo. Ryan Grant sneaking forward in the box, cleared by Marcelo. Wanderers just penned in their own defensive third for the moment. It's a pretty good ball from Bratton. Robert Mack in behind. Still Mack, beaten away by Thomas. And a touch of good fortune perhaps with the rebound off for Malfitano, but Sydney have started the second half in much more positive fashion. Yeah, well, whatever
Steve Coric has said at half-time, it's had the desired effect. Robert Mack there coming back onto his right foot.
Sensing that their team is about to make a charge. However, James Donachie has cocked up possession. It's Cassini, Yengi! And maybe he should have squared it up for Kripic. He opted to go himself. And he flashed it wide, but Mark Redan likes the determination that he showed in winning the ball off James Donachie.
Well, it was almost a critical error there from James Donachie at the back. And as Yengi strode forward, you could see Kripic just in that central area.
Running his way through. Traore keeping track with it. Lovely ball again. Caballo. The intensity of the derby at the moment. It's right on the button. Clerc. Still going the fullback. Outside of his Kripic. First time ball. What a chance. It's Miloš Ninkovic. Oh, that was the moment. Goodness me. You expected the net to bulge. And instead of red and black cheers, the biggest cheers are from the Sydney FC fans. In relief as much as anything.
Well, it was a fantastic ball. He just had indecision, didn't he? He had so much time. And if there was anyone you wanted to be in that position, it was that man. opportunity to really rub salt into the wound for Sydney FC fans.
Initially by Newhoff, but he's still threaded the needle. Here's Robert Mack and Merchula quickly shut the gates as quickly as it opened. Now the Wanderers will spring forward. It's Milos Ninkovic. They've got a man left who's Cassini Yengi. Is this it for the Wanderers? Still Yengi, and still Cassini Yengi gives Western Sydney Wanderers the lead. Firing into the roof of the net. It's his first goal in red and black. And how crucial could that be in the derby? Wanderers go wild.
And look what it means to those supporters and the players alike. And it was that man, Milos Ninkovic, on the Harvey Norman replay who opened up the defence. He still had a lot of work to do, Yengi. He went inside 1, 2, he got it on that right foot, and he smashes it into the top corner, and off he runs. Celebrations abound. A fantastic finish from the young man. But it was that man, Milos Ninkovic, driving forward, sending the defenders backwards. Gets the assist to a wonderful finish. Cassini Yengi. He's had his moments, and have a look at that. That's what it means, the derby. Away from home, they're running in all directions.
Well, I thought Marco Redown was going to do a Jose Mourinho and go and slide on his knees down the touchline. This derby win, if that's what it's to be, would mean so much to the Wanderers. They've got a chance to make it 2 here. It's Borrello. It's straight at the goalkeeper. Second chance for Borrello. He goes down a little bit in installments, you have to say. And to be fair to Brendan Borrello, he doesn't appeal for the penalty. But what a chance, maybe to put this game to bed.
It was almost carbon copy of the goal, wasn't it? Quick break. Yengi now decides to slow the play down, but Sydney do look dangerous when they win that ball. Aggressive in the press. They break forward quickly.
And you have to say, but for Andrew Redmayne, this game could be out of sight already for the red and black. Another mistake this time from Ryan Grant. It'll be a Wanderers corner. Marco Rudan says, come on, we've got them on the ropes here. And you sense he might be right.
Yeah, it does have a feeling, doesn't it? Sydney really up against it now. The body language, the demeanour.
That'd be good value, the Wanderers. That 10-minute spell at the start of the second half aside. As Sydney came back out flying. Here's the corner. Marcelo got on the end of it. Couldn't get the direction, couldn't keep it down. Let me ask you a different question, Macca. And yes, it's very early on still in the season. But if Sydney lose again tonight, is the pressure going to increase again on Steve Corica? Sydney, of course, could yet turn this around. Just over 10 minutes to go. It's the World Cup break for both. A little bit strong from Caballo, but Segacic will track it down. John Wallace up. Here's Yazbek, deflected, made it awkward for Thomas. Here's Mack, and Marcelo got across to make the block. Wanderers were stretched there. Segacic gets a hand across him from Klur, but there's no foul. Sydney's turn to throw a punch or two.
So see Kucharski coming on. Patrick Yazbek. We haven't seen enough from Sydney FC. I think they've lost the majority of their individual battles across the park, as you would always hear coaches say, go and win your battle against your opposite number. And I think Western Sydney tonight, pretty much across the park, have won that.
Grant had committed himself there and therefore has left that channel open for Yeni Mbakoto on the left for the Wanderers. And he got to the byline and thumped it off the upright.
For a moment there, I thought Redmayne had stuck his hand out and had come off the right fist into the goal.
This would have been some introduction off the bench.
See there, his crashes on against the outside of the post.
Grant for Lolly. Lolly cutting inside as he loves to do. Floating it in. Here's a big chance. It's Robert Mack inside the box. Segatic! And he puts it into the cove. Steve Corica can scarcely believe it.
Well, there's an inquiry happening in the Western Sydney defence. You can see the fans' reaction. It was a wonderful ball. And as it came down there, they all came inside. He just leans back and gets his foot under the ball. A moment to get your name up in lights.
The emotions of football. Ecstasy. Still Sydney Cup. Kucharski. It's broken for him. Jaden Kucharski. More angst for those in sky blue.
The youngsters keep coming, don't they? First Segatic, now Kucharski. It's more a bustling, jostling run. With the shot, it's a difficult one. Back to your point of what would this mean to Macca Rudan? So many changes.
It's clever from Burgess. Into the box by Lolly. Script up in the air by Marcelo.
So many changes, so many new players coming in, and talk so much about setting a culture and standard and getting back with the community, getting the fans back on board. Well, he's giving them something to cheer about.
Sydney have a late corner here. Themselves to try and help their team, maybe for the last time in this derby. It's Joe Lolly to take. Angle towards James Donaghy in the back post. Wanderers deal with it. Out it comes for Bratton, who drills it wide. And the Wanderers will be in no hurry to restart things. And Steve Corica's face says it all. And there were one or two boos from the Sydney fans as well when his face came up on the big screen. Wanderers going to make a late change, probably to run the clock down as much as anything else. And Miloš Ninković is going to get the chance to walk off after all the publicity this week at his own pace with his team leading 1-0 with a minute to go. You can't ask for much more than that if you're Ninković.
Fantastic. He's had a fantastic game tonight as well. All the hype, everything that's gone around it during the off-season, leading up to this game as well. Another fantastic display. He'll be disappointed he didn't finish off that chance he had. But that won't matter. 3 points against the enemy.
Not quite 3 points just yet. Sydney still pushing. Headed away by Clare. And Mbakoto wins the aerial duel. Sydney have got to get forward and quick. Oh, and Gurd is clattered into there. And we're going to have a booking for Alessandro Lepane. It's probably one of the quickest bookings in A-League history. He's only been on the pitch a matter of 10 seconds or so.
I don't think of any arguments there. Slides in, takes Gurd out late.
And more than that, it's given Sydney one last chance. We're into the 6th minute of stoppage time. Forward it goes towards Donaghy. Segatic to keep it in play. Can he find the angle for the cross? It's not clear by Murchela. Back by Segatic. Can they find the angle? Burgess to square it up. Jaden Kucharski wanted one touch too many. Sydney still come. Lolly trying to slalom his way through, but there's no way there. And Nieuwenhof is chopped down by Bratton. That's going to be a yellow card, and the derby is going to end in acrimony, as we thought it might. There's push and shove, there are arms being raised. This is the frustration of one side, who've been riled up all week by the potential return of Miloš Ninković. James Donachie squaring up to Marcelo. And at the end of it all, Alex King has got to try and calm things down and decipher as to which action he wants to take.
It's a derby, isn't it? It was a clear foul, professional foul, yellow card, but derby, everyone wants to get involved.
Might well be the last action. It's a crude challenge from Bratton, but one he will feel he had to make because Nieuwenhof and the Wanderers were away. Brandon Morello was first in, the two Queenslanders going at it.
Look, the only problem here is that it went a little too far and then you end up getting a red card, but Alex King has seen the yellow card is good enough.
Look at that for a picture. Coach and star player, the hero, one of them for the Wanderers tonight, but very much the villain so far as the Sky Blues are concerned. And there goes the full-time whistle. And look at what that means for Western Sydney Wanderers. They are victorious at Allianz for the first time in 9 years, as Sydney's wait for a victory back at their spiritual home continues. Steve Corica looking glum-faced, and the biggest smile of all will belong to a certain Miloš Ninković and the Wanderers coach, Marco Rudan. The Wanderers back up to second. Sydney could be out of the top six by the weekend's end. It's Western Sydney's 100th win overall, and it was all down to Kusini Yengi's second half strike with 20 minutes to go. The Wanderers probably good value on the night. They certainly created the majority of the opportunities. They had to dig in late on, a couple of chances to the youngsters for Sydney, Segacic and Kucharski. But in the end, the red and black were just a little bit too good. Marco Rudan wishes Andrew Redmayne well at the World Cup. The former Sydney FC defender, of course, the Wanderers coach. But he will go off to celebrate with those supporters. Sydney is red and black tonight. They've won the derby by 1-0.